Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in this world. This is Agent Lee with a morning update for Bitcoin. All right, overnight prices haven't really done much at all. It's kind of boring. But I think what's probably likely is I've gotten some comments from a good number of people saying, would this be the bottom? Could this be the C right here? And I'm thinking, yes, absolutely. But I think from a short-term perspective, it causes myopia because by not having the broader perspective, it at a certain point it gets you stuck into a tunnel vision. That is why I usually go from the short term and go broaden out to higher degree of trend or long-term perspective. So this bear flag finished, and we have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, if this was the end of the correction, then 3, 4, and 5 would be really short compared to 1. Yeah, you could have extended 1, but to tell you the truth, I really haven't seen maybe just not even a handful of real extended 1 impulse scenarios in crypto. So I don't think it is within the personality trait commonly to have an extended 1. And I would discount that because of that. And therefore I would say wave 4 is either here or one more to come. This could be an A, B, C, D, E, whatever you might want red wave 4 wants to morph into. But I think there's a one more lower low ahead of us, as you can see on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 count. And in this chart, which gives you that longer term perspective, and I think it's important to see that price went through this first cluster of support very easily. Bounced a little bit, came right through. Then here it bounced a little bit, got a little more resistance, went right through. Now we are at the third cluster of support that it is entering. But remember why I have labeled this as a bullish flag. And the reason why a downward pointing pattern is bullish is because let's look at it from the seller and the buyer perspective. So from the onset of the correction, there was support here, but there was a lot of sellers, plenty of sellers, and they took it down easily. They cut it through like a butter, hot knife through butter. And therefore, when they came across their second cluster of support, they didn't, one thing was for sure, they didn't have as many sellers here as they did when they started. So the number of sellers got depleted by the time they came to the second cluster. But still, they worked on it, hit it. They shot the ammo that they had, and they went past it. They went through it and right down to the top of the last remaining cluster of support. But do you think at current levels they have as many sellers as they did when they started? No. They have right now much less sellers willing to sell compared to the onset of the correction. Basically, these were the speed bumps that's causing the dramatic depletion of selling power. And this last remaining cluster of support will probably hold, and probably price may go to the 0.78, but also temporarily pierce it into maybe 0.88 into the middle of this cluster of support, maybe as a price wick, and come right back up. And the reason why we call it the bullish flag when it's pointing down is because the sellers are being so depleted so that by the end of the pattern, there are almost no sellers. The balance and the scale basically has been tilted towards the bullish side. Because compared to the number of sellers and then the number of would-be buyers is very disproportionate again. The number of would-be buyers far outnumber the would-be sellers. That is why it's called the bullish flag. And that is why I think price will make one more dip lower to the 0.786, to the 7,200 to maybe 7,000, into this cloud of cluster support or support cluster. And from there, probably that is where the ABC, the C wave, will finish. And this bull flag will trend reverse. The other thing to consider is, of course, the MACD. It is still well within the symmetrical triangle, as shown by the blue lines. And that is contracting. And as it contracts, by the time it gets here, there will be no mobility. And therefore, this correction is happening into the contraction of the symmetrical triangle. That is a very difficult thing to sustain, which is again why I believe this third cluster of support should hold. That is why I am aiming for the 0.78 Fibonacci level. And this MACD will be then down sitting on the lower blue line as support. And when it does sit on this, it may temporarily pierce it, which is desirable, I think, as a bull wick event. Come back in. Maybe it'll come back, be repelled slightly by the top line, price-wise, and then go back up again. And that is what this might, one more dip, might coincide with a small repel of price by the top line of the bull flag and go back up again. So time-wise, I think we're really close. Maybe by June 12th or so, or earlier. I think we're pretty close. And this last remaining portion of the correction might take its time. However, it won't be able to fight too much with the contracting lines of the MACD symmetrical triangle. It's running out of time. So this, another thing to consider is that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the white waves, these are subwaves to higher degree wave 1. We are working on wave 2. The ABC are the subwaves of a higher degree wave 2. So let me I'll just draw it in. So we've got, oops. So this is wave 1. Because these white subwaves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are the subwaves of wave 1, higher degree wave 1. And this correction will be leading to wave 2. So if this is wave 1, this is wave 2, what comes after 2? You got it. I think wave 3, by June and then into July, there could be a very sizable rally where we can again probably take out the 10K and then go shoot for the 12K. Here is the longer term perspective. This big wedge, bullish wedge, combined with a cup and handle, a bullish cup and handle, is a bullish setup. And the reason why I don't think this will be a crash scenario is, again, this contracting symmetrical triangle pattern of the MACD will dip, come up, dip, and by June 12th or so, we should have a breakout. All right, I hope you found this to be helpful. There won't be a summary on this. I'm quite busy right now, but the video should suffice with a lot of details. Have a wonderful day.